Greetings, YouTube. Recently, Ander was discussing his displeasure with how weapons are used in D&D and Pathfinder. And that got me thinking about weapons finesse. Kind of a feat tax that most rogues have to pay if they're going to be able to use their weapons efficiently, because let's face it, not many rogues are playing strength-based characters. They're all dex-based characters. So if they want to excel at their combat, they're going to have to find some way of getting their dexterity to be their to-hit roll, which makes perfect sense. Now, I've decided that maybe I just want to toss out the entire concept of weapon finesse. Now, I want to keep the category of weapons that can be finessed. I want there to be two classes of weapons, those which are strength-based and those which are dexterity-based. But anyone would be able to use them in either way if they had a bonus high enough. So if you're playing a character that has a higher dex than their strength, and they're using a weapon which can be finessed, you would automatically be able to apply your dex bonus to hit. Pretty straightforward. Now that is going to mean that rogues are going to get a bonus in combat, but big deal. It just means they don't have to spend a feat to acquire that. And it would mean that arcane casters, monks, and possibly some clerics would also get a bonus. And again, I say big deal. I mean, let's face it, none of these classes is going to be taking over the battlefield if they suddenly can attack more efficiently with light weapons. Because remember, this is only going to apply to light weapons, weapons which can be finessed. And those aren't the real combat, command weapons that you're going to see on the battlefield. They're the weapons that were used by people that were trained in light styles of dexterity-based combat, which is what you should. If you have no strength, but you are dexterous, you will emphasize combat with weapons which you can use. You will not be picking up a two-handed sword or a tetsubo. You'll be picking up a dagger or a rapier or something like that. And most of the classes that I've mentioned have restrictions already about what kind of weapons they can access. So it's not like they're using the entire panoply of weapons out there available anyway. I also have considered letting anyone who takes the feat martial weapon would get all martial weapons, just as simple weapons proficiency grants you access to all simple weapons. I don't think it's a game breaker, and it makes sense that you've basically dumped more skills into combat, so yeah, you can use more types of weapons. And again, I don't think it's a game changer. I should point out that I am not one that is known to bow too deeply at the altar of balance, so I may be willing to accept a certain level of wiggle room that some GMs are not. But I would be interested in hearing what people have to say about my idea of tossing out weapons finesse and just allowing people to use dexterity-based weapons if they have a higher enough dexterity. Now, back in the last 2nd edition campaign I ran, I had all combat be based on dexterity. So if you wanted to get a bonus to hit, you had to have a dexterity bonus. Your strength was still your damage bonus, but everything was dex-based. And in retrospect, I think it kind of screwed some of the more strength-based fighters. I kind of like the idea of splitting this up into weapons that are strength-based and weapons that are dex-based. I think that's a little fairer breakdown in my opinion. So, I'm interested in hearing what you folks have to say. Do you think that weapons finesse should be tossed on the rubbish heap, or do you think it should stick around?